The second headline screamed that Remy Ma and Papoose were officially done. Most folks barely flinched. It felt like just another glossy Hollywood romance crashing on schedule. But underneath that picture-perfect calm, Remy had been working overtime for years, polishing Papoose's reputation while whispers of cheating, money drama, and simmering tension quietly stacked up backstage. Fans once crowned them hip-hop royalty, hyping their marriage as the ultimate blueprint for Black love. They applauded that loyalty without ever peeking behind the curtain at what was really unfolding. Now that fresh receipts are flooding timelines, the entire fairy tale hits different. Everyone's asking what was buried, what flipped the script, and why the truth stayed locked away so long. Remy Ma and Papoose sold the world a flawless ride-or-die fantasy, and now the cracks are impossible to ignore.
You the dumbest broad of the year. You the messiest bitch of the year. I'm gonna start giving out motherfucking awards my damn self and mailing them to you bitches. I'm gonna make a fucking award that say Own Papoose Dick Award and send it to the bitch who be on his dick the most. I got something for y'all. I got something for y'all. And unlike some...
Remy Ma has always carried herself like the undisputed Bronx boss. Fearless, sharp-tongued, and unapologetically authentic music with real street authority. But lately, Claressa Shields has been swerving into that very lane, serving heavy look at me. Music energy like she's auditioning for Remy's entire aura. Meanwhile, Papoose stayed in his own carefully curated corner, the disciplined underground lyricist with razor bars and that low-key but commanding presence. Remy never needed a shadow. She needed an equal, someone solid enough to stand beside her without scrambling to steal her spotlight. For years, Papoose nailed that role, crafting the image of the devoted husband who uplifted his queen instead of competing with her shine. That polished persona defined how the public viewed them for ages. But here's the twist. It didn't start after the wedding bells rang. The real story traces back to when Remy was locked away. In 2007, Remy was pulled into a heated altercation with a friend outside a Manhattan nightclub over money, one explosive moment that ultimately led to her serving 8 years behind bars.
She said, I hear the garbage truck. Did you take out the garbage? She gonna kill me, I forgot. I gotta be honest, now I'm running outside with the garbage in my arms. Open the door, but I forgot to cut off the alarm. The queen mad at me, I'm disgraced. She said those raccoons gonna have that garbage all over the place. We had a bad morning, but the love remains strong. Black love forever, I would never...
While she was behind bars, Papoose turned himself into a permanent fixture, showing up nearly every single day, planted at her side after everybody else vanished. Fans lost their minds over that loyalty, hyping him up like he was the human definition of devotion. So when Remy Ma finally stepped back into freedom, music, the world crowned them untouchable. They ran through every major interview, every headline, every camera angle, selling the image of an ironclad power couple with Papoose's faithfulness glowing front and center. Then the chaos with Claressa Shields erupted, and jaws hit the floor. From the cheap seats, it looked like Remy had torched her own flawless music love story. But that fairy tale only survived because nobody bothered to look too closely. Still together. Just music. The night before everything exploded, the internet lost its mind. That single detail turned the entire story upside down. It proved that many of Remy's later comments weren't random or emotional. They were responses to chaos that had already been quietly building behind the scenes. Claressa Shields stepping into a connection that had been forming for decades, music, while her own situation was still freshly unfolding, was destined to collapse eventually. From a strategic standpoint, the link between Claressa Shields and Papoose, music, was doomed long before it ever began. The energy felt wrong from day one. You could sense it. And when it finally collapsed, nobody who was paying attention felt surprised.
My son lived with his father for a year or two while I was away, and with my mother, who the entire time I was sending the money from.
Start stacking the timeline, the players involved, and who was really present when everything went sideways and suddenly music. It all starts clicking. What first felt like chaos slowly sharpened into a crystal clear picture. exposing just how deep the dysfunction truly music ran. And then, boom, the real detonation hit. Whispers flew that Papoose had allegedly laid out Easy the Block Captain over rumors linking him and Remy Ma in an affair. Proven or not, it didn't matter. The internet combusted. Social media turned into a digital wildfire. Music, overnight, Remy was recast as the villain, accused of betraying the devoted husband fans had canonized for years. People were stunned. This was the supposedly unbreakable couple. That one-sided music narrative dominated everything until Remy decided she'd had enough and started firing back. Remy reached her limit. Done carrying music, a storyline missing half its chapters. Here's the irony. She was one of the architects behind that flawless husband image for Papoose in the first place. For years, she protected his brand, concealed his flaws, and kept every messy detail far from public view. But once the tables turned, suddenly music, she was cast as the villain. And trust me, that wasn't random.
Jealous of Claressa Shields. Just say that. You're jealous. You wonder why it's not you. Well, how come it's not me that got the house? Why is not me with Papoose? Why is not me?
Remy helped music build that picture-perfect storyline right alongside him. And that level of heavy branding always carries consequences. When the mask begins to crack, most people can't stomach seeing the whole truth. That doesn't make Remy the villain. It simply explains why the backlash slammed her so hard. Once things erupted online and Remy started releasing her own receipts, the spiral accelerated fast. The madness wasn't only about a rumored affair. It peeled back layers of buried drama that had been hidden for years. One batch of messages showed Claressa Shields reaching out to Remy for guidance, asking how to dress, style her hair, and move like a woman in the spotlight. Then another set surfaced, revealing Papoose practically pleading for attention, craving flowers, calls, affection, and to be chosen. That emotional collision between both sides landed like a bomb and left everyone frozen. When Fat Joe confirmed that Papoose was actually with Remy the night before everything detonated, the timeline snapped into place. Music, no more guessing. That reveal suddenly made Claressa's behavior add up. The insecurity, the constant hunger for attention, music, the desperate grabs just to feel seen. Until then, everyone was still stuck on the headline painting Remy as the woman who ruined Black love. A narrative people swallowed without questioning what truly happened. Then came the plot twist. Claressa stepping into the spotlight and allegedly jumping into a group chat to take shots at a married woman. That flipped the story upside down, music, and stunned fans. And just when the internet thought it couldn't get uglier, Easy the Block Captain started running his mouth online as whispers spread about a supposed clash between him and Papoose. What began as gossip morphed into a full collision of ego, insecurity, and years of unresolved tension finally boiling over. Claressa Shields landed right in the center of one of the wildest public relationship meltdowns in recent hip-hop memory. But look closer, and it's clear this was never just about love. It was about pride, image, music, and the fallout that comes when private tension explodes on a public stage. At its core, this wasn't only romance. It was emotions spinning out of control. Claressa had plenty simmering underneath. Validation clashing with belonging, power crashing into proximity, ego battling security. Those mismatched energies can turn any relationship into absolute chaos. Strip away the noise, and the picture sharpens fast. Then Remy dropped the bomb that flipped everything. She revealed she'd been the one holding it all together financially throughout the marriage, even while she was locked behind bars.
Back to work. That's why I only visited her every day for a year straight. But after that, I had the space to visit out to like 3 times a week. Never missed a Christmas, never missed a Mother's Day, never missed a single holiday.
That confession blew the fairy tale to pieces. Learning that the entire image, the lifestyle, the stability, the ride-or-die aura, was bankrolled by Remy Ma hit the internet like a thunderclap. Overnight, all that praised devotion started looking suspiciously like dependence, and those so-called sacrifices? Maybe they were strategic survival plays. Timing, as always, was lethal. The moment Remy put Papoose out and dragged the truth into daylight, he conveniently gravitated toward Claressa Shields, a woman with her own money and muscle. Did that prove anything? Not exactly. But it absolutely had people side-eyeing the situation. When financial security evaporates in one relationship and magically reappears in another, folks start asking uncomfortable questions. Was this love, or was it opportunity dressed up as affection? Suddenly, the narrative stopped being about heartbreak and started peeling back something much heavier. A real, music, power play fueled by money, access, and survival instincts. What looked like a breakup now felt like the exposure of a system they both helped engineer. When music, you examine it closely, it wasn't just romance collapsing. It was the power structure cracking in public view. Then the money conversation really heated up. Back in 2006, Papoose proudly announced he secured a $1.5 million deal with Jive Records. For nearly 2 decades, he's worn that badge, the $1.5 million man. But here's the twist. He's still referencing that same advance all these years later. By his own admission, he took the money and exited the deal before completing it. That sparked whispers that maybe finishing it was never the plan, that cash mattered more than craft, survival more than substance. Music, pair that with Remy's claim that she'd been the true financial backbone all along, and the image sharpens fast. That polished narrative of Papoose as the devoted husband managing the household and supporting his family starts looking less like romance and more like control.
Anybody crashing out, I'm checking them. Let them know. Don't come mess with me, I won't mess with you. They're gonna take these videos and put them everywhere.
Holding power of attorney over her money while parading himself as the provider? That's not teamwork. That's a control move dressed up as devotion. The superhero husband narrative starts cracking once Remy Ma and Papoose both admitted they'd cheated at different moments. Too many outsiders got dragged into their chaos, turning the marriage into anything but flawless. This isn't a story of angels versus villains. It's about decisions, music, control, and accountability smashing together under pressure. Any woman would be furious walking into a home where her money was spent, music, her trust was broken, and her world was still being accessed freely. But here's the wild part. It wasn't a dead marriage. They had real intimacy, conjugal visits, and music, countless chances to fix things. They just couldn't stop the foundation from splitting under the weight of secrets. The bond between Remy and Papoose was genuine. Nobody can deny it. The music, love, the loyalty, the history, it was all real. But so was the opportunity to choose better, and he didn't. That's where Claressa Shields' music enters the picture and the mess multiplies. Because, let's be honest, if a man couldn't stay faithful to a woman who shared her money, her music name, and her legacy, why would anyone expect loyalty during a short break, music, or separation? That's not shade. That's math. When Papoose started pushing claims that Remy was allegedly involved with an old prison music associate, people were shocked. The story sounded reckless, especially since they were still having conjugal visits, clear proof the connection wasn't gone. But by then, both had already shifted focus. He was entangled with Claressa, and Remy was redirecting her energy elsewhere. That rumor felt less like truth and more like a textbook distraction tactic, away music, to redirect attention from his own mistakes. When your entire brand is built on loyalty, any music rumor threatening it feels dangerous. So instead of owning the truth, Papoose began dropping extra details that didn't line up. Details meant to stir music confusion, not clarify it. That wasn't honesty. That was damage control. He wanted eyes on Remy, music not on his inconsistencies. For years, fans saw him as Remy's knight in shining armor, the man who stayed through everything. But once reality started leaking out, that armor rusted fast. Music, Remy wasn't playing along anymore. She fired back with receipts, clearing her name and shutting down false narratives in real time. She even shared proof of being home with her child during holidays, instantly dismantling lies meant to label her the villain. What used to be a love story became a public chess match. Music, and this time, Remy stopped being polite. Claressa may be young, driven, and ambitious, but she's surrounded by the wrong influence, voices hyping her instead of grounding her. While the internet kept buzzing about her and Papoose, Remy revealed another jaw-dropping detail. A woman known as Cali Girl was also involved during the same window. Papoose was publicly linked to Claressa. The timeline tells the truth. Overlap everywhere, exposing a repeating pattern that's impossible to ignore. Every chapter looks the same. New face, same type. Music, same disaster. Remy spent years shielding him from backlash, covering for him while he perfected the loyal husband image fans loved. But once his actions surfaced, that loyalty looked less like romance and more like opportunism. Music. His history showed someone obsessed with optics, always performing for cameras while chaos simmered off-screen. And Claressa? She seems caught in that same loop, fueled by music, ego, validation, and attention highs. She stepped into a blaze that was already raging, linking herself to a man still legally tied to another woman while juggling her own struggles and trying to revive a stalled career. That's not confidence. That's confusion under spotlight pressure. Psychologically, this setup was never built to last. It wasn't rooted in love. It was rooted in branding, image control, and clashing egos. Music, once you strip away the captions, interviews, and staged smiles, the truth is exposed. This saga was never about passion. It was about identity, power, and control. Music, and through all of it, Remy didn't turn bitter. She simply stopped performing a role she helped write. Remy finally stopped guarding the illusion. Once the mask dropped, everything poured out. Years of silence, of maintaining perfection, disappeared in one brutal surge of honesty. She stopped defending a fantasy that no longer benefited her. And when she let go, the real story slammed into public view. Claressa's position now serves as a cautionary tale for anyone watching from afar. Love doesn't need extra players or borrowed validation. Loyalty isn't earned through competition. Music grows from consistency and truth. No healthy relationship survives secrecy, denial, music, or ego games. When a bond relies on performance instead of honesty, collapse is inevitable. Because actions always speak louder than captions, and music, patterns never lie. The story of Remy Ma, Papoose, and Claressa Shields isn't just gossip. It's raw humanity on display. It shows how fame, ego, and image can distort reality until even the people inside it lose clarity. What looked like love became strategy. Music, what felt like loyalty turned into control. And what the public praised as goals was really a quiet power struggle behind the scenes. In music, the end, it's not about winners or losers. It's about what got exposed. Truth always surfaces no matter how long it hides. So, music, watch the behavior, track the patterns, and remember, real authenticity never needs a PR team. If this breakdown opened your eyes, hit like, subscribe, share it around, and drop your thoughts below. Let's really talk about what lives behind the headlines.